Welcome to JGTCR, I'm Cope, and today we are tuning the Aston Martin DB3S. Let's get into it. This is a very old school race car. What this means is essentially that we are drift racing. Yes, the tail of this DB3S likes to hang out with its wang out all the time. So get used to counter steering because controlling the drift comes with the territory when driving this vehicle. While this is a race car, the suspension setup is very loose and has a lot of weight transfer. It is the weight shifting left to right and front to back that causes the drifting. Every time you brake, every corner you take, I'll be drifting you. There is not a lot of power available, and what is there is not aggressive. But when paired with a spongy suspension and cheese cutter tires, it wheel spins quite a lot. The DB3S is sketchy at the best of times, so if we intend on getting the best out of this vehicle, we must be extra smooth on steering and throttle. Even when it comes to braking, it's best to get it all done in a straight line, rolling on smoothly and back off as well. This Aston Martin is not for everyone, and many will find it annoying to drive. But for those that like a challenge, it can be very rewarding when it all comes together. Let's collect our time. (8 minutes 15.5 seconds). Let's get to tuning. A simple tune for a simple vehicle. Some firming up of the suspension, keeping the rear slightly softer than the front in some areas, but mostly equal front and back. The differential was cranked up besides the braking sensitivity as the rear was locking up under brakes and we were suffering from understeer when turning in and coasting through corners. Let's hit the road and see how it performs. After being completely modified and tuned, the Aston Martin DB3S is a very sketchy vehicle. It slides and sidesteps anywhere it wants to, and we are left scrambling to put it all back together before we reach the next turn. When slides do occur, they are often met with a harsh snapback, so caution is advised. The increase in power is great and the power delivery is good, but random traction loss causes issues. This is especially noticeable at high speeds as no aero messes up handling. And as we try and wrestle the vehicle into submission, the tail end steps out and it all falls apart. The brakes work rather well, but the tail end is prone to stepping out when we jump on them too hard. While the Aston Martin DB3S is a handful to drive, it is thrilling to do so. If Russian roulette was embodied in a vehicle, this is what it would look like. Now let's get that time. 6 minutes 47.9 seconds. And now the drift tune. For our drift tune, most of our changes have been made to the rear suspension. The softer rear suspension and maxed out camber angle gives us more directional drift. The camber angle up front was also increased to 4 to give us sharper steering control. The MVP of our tune is the ballast of 121 kilos at a ballast positioning of -35 over the front wheels. This helps stabilize the front end and also gives us a pendulum effect when we are drifting. Let's see it in action on Suzuka. Who would have thought that the Aston Martin DB3S would be an awesome little drift car, especially considering the sketchy nature of the vehicle while racing. And yet here we are watching it drift in all its smoky glory. The DB3S is very easy to drift. While it does seem to have a slow and lazy drift, it does have quite a bit of pep behind the wheel. In other words, it handles like a go-kart, but drifts like a boat. While it may not have a lot of power, what it does have, it delivers instantly. This makes it very responsive to throttle inputs and when coupled with the aforementioned steering capabilities, it makes for a spicy little drift car that is very easy to place on the track. Even drifting in traffic or dealing with the hazards of a drift pass, the Aston Martin DB3S is more than capable of holding its own. So if you're after something a little bit different to take out on a drift session, then look no further. The Aston Martin DB3S certainly is an interesting addition to the garage. In factory trim, it's an old school race car that's squirrely in nature to its core. When modified, it is a faster old school race car that is squirrely in nature to its core. Acceleration, braking, and turning, every facet of this vehicle is squirrely through and through. However, it is a challenge that is extremely rewarding when mastered. Amazingly, where the DB3S truly shines is on the drift track. It is easy to control as the steering is sharp and precise. And while it may not have a lot of power, what it does have it uses 100% effectively. And this makes it capable of keeping up in most drift lobbies. An unexpected surprise, but a good one nonetheless. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!